hear me? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I hope we're doing well. Welcome to another edition of TSS Training. Okay, so we're just gonna
Lady Gani jáde lọ́nà bá bírèkì rẹ́kọ̀dì
can
ẹ̀tọ́
we mute
seventy two àti
can we mute
fún
our
ara
mic? We
twenty
mute our mic.
àwọn èèyàn ti ẹnìkan lòun san 1,000 owó gate
Please, can
gate
we
fee
mute our mic?
olóòtú ṣọ́ọ̀bù àti jẹun tí ọmọ wa máa torí ẹ̀ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ dìde wọ́n dìde dìde ìmọ̀ tí mo wá kiri.
Okay, so we're just gonna wait for about 3 more minutes and then we start. I hope we're all excited to be here today. I hope we're really looking forward to an insightful time and also learn one or two things. Okay, so if any of us were in, please can we mute our mic? Okay, so can we signify in the chat box if we were in the last tax training or if we attended? And, oh dear. Okay, can we signify in the chat box? Oh, I'm so sorry, I was muted. Okay, so I was saying that, can we signify or send a message in the chat box if we were in the last tax training with Jessica and Adedayo? So I'll know if, we have newbies here or these are people that, were with us the last time we had. Oh, okay. Hi, Timileni. Thank you so much for coming again. I promise you it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time here with us today. Anyone else aside Timileni? Okay, so it was just Timileni that was in the last training. Wow. Okay. Okay, so if we're raising our hands, is that like okay? Okay, someone else also. Okay, thank you. How was it for you? For you to be a returning member, that means it was. Tell us, any other person while we wait for others to join. Yes, the last training, Dorothy. Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, it's your first time. Welcome, Olakunle. I promise you it's going to be an insightful. Okay, thank you, Dorothy. Dorothy was here the last time as well. Oh, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Ogena said that the training was an eye opener. Well, we're so happy to hear that. These are testimonies from the last session we had. Okay, so moving on, we're going to be having another discussion today. I hope we're excited and we're open to learning. And I promise you, our speakers have loads and loads of information to load us with. And yes, the money that you, in fact, are going to get double for whatever you paid. Yeah. Okay, so my name is Jola Folayomi. and I'm going to be your moderator for today. And so we're going to start right away. We promise not to take so much of our time. We're very time conscious, and so we would try as possible to start and finish at the exact time that the meeting is supposed to last for. Okay, welcome, Michael. This is your first time. I promise you're going to come back for more. In fact, right now that we're even speaking about it, if you have not followed us on our social media page, please do so like ASAP. Follow Problem Solvers on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Yeah. So please follow us, follow us, follow us, follow us. Okay, we'll just get right into it. Our first speaker for today is Michael Anate. I hope I got that pronunciation right. Michael is going to be speaking to us first. And yes, Michael, please, over to you.
Hi everyone, good evening. Can you hear me from your end?
Yes, I can. Hi,
All right.
Michael. Good to see you.
Yeah, same here as well. Happy Sunday to everyone. My name is Mikey Anansi, and I'm delighted to be here on board. The long webinar we've been planning for is successfully already here already. So, not to take much of our time, I know we have a lot of things to be discussing today, and I know that there'll be a lot of questions that will be answered. So, let me just introduce. I know that we have new people that are just coming to the tax space. We are trying to know more about tax, and so I would want to encourage you that the tax industry is an industry that is thriving and is gaining more and name in the market. So if you're in the tax industry, take your time also to build up confidence because we are professional in the field. With the way we are going right now, tax professionals should be highly expected, and because of the problem to be solving, and because of what will be upcoming in tax. So let me just introduce. I know we have some new views on board. Let me just introduce you to what tax is all about, because I'm just come to just an introduction why my was come and take on board. So for some of us that's not joining us, you're welcome on board. Some of us were here last time. Some of us will join for the first time. So let's just go to the point. So tax is just a compulsory level that is being charged on the income and profits of individual and businesses and on the goods and services that were depending on the industry. So everyone here pays tax. Tax could be paid directly or indirectly. So me and you are paying tax. Most of the tax we pay now, they are all indirect taxes. So many of us here, of course, if I would want to ask more question, but I know some of us know what differentiates indirect tax and direct tax. So apparently, of course, some of the indirect tax we paid company income tax, personal income tax, to mention a few. Why the indirect tax are value-added tax, tax duties, and the likes. So apparently, everything in this life and the have has an end result. Of course, some of us that are into the financial reporting space, one of the end result for accounting is to prepare financial reports so that management can make decisions, can advise management. So definitely, as regards the tax as well, why are we paying tax? Many of us are those, some of us, whenever we sell our taxes on the payroll, like, why am I paying this much tax? Definitely, there's a reason why I'm paying tax. One of the reasons is because it's your civic responsibility. So for me, I was just thinking of what would be the end result of tax. So as regards the tax space, so there are majorly two end results for all that and individual when it comes to payments of taxes. So I don't know if I'm still there. Paolo, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead, Michael. We can hear
All
you.
right, all right, all right. So thank you. So whenever you pay tax, definitely tax is a major source of revenue for the government. In the African part, though Africa in the developed economy, the likes of USA, likes of UK, it is one of their major source of revenue compared to other streams of revenue. For we in Africa, we are still growing because the government believe that if not capped so a lot, many people are not in the tax net. So they're coming up with new policies, they're coming up with new strategies so that lots of people are in the tax net so that government can tax can be the major source of revenue. So two major sources of end result of the tax. One of the end results is that as an individual, if I'm paying tax, I want to be seeing the results of the taxes I'm paying. One, I want to be seeing basic amenities. I want to have securities. I want to have a good road. I want to go to the office and come back safely. So one of my end results is to get say that our money is being used to facilitate government infrastructure. Another end result for taxes is that there's something why we are all here is to get your tax clearance certificate. So tax clearance certificate is not a certificate that attests to the fact that you've been faithful in the payment of your taxes and your returns for the last 3 years. So that is what we are here. So I believe that we're going to have a good time here with us. I believe that we're going to get more value for the money you paid. So I would want to go far because my other colleagues want to deep more into that and also show you the practical aspects of why we are here. And I believe that you're going to be a nice time. So get your pen, though the session is being recorded, to ask questions so we can also get from more people that are experienced in the industry. So TCC will be handled by my next colleague. I believe I'll be able to share one or two things. If you have any questions, please pen them down. The only question and answer sections, it would be properly attended to. So that was all for me, Dola. But thanks so much for the time. I believe the time is well spent.
Thank you so much for that very short and insightful um, speech that you have given us, Michael. Thank you so much. Next person is our next speaker is Adedayo Adedisi. Hi, Adedayo. Over to you.
Hi, Dolapo. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you confirm you can hear me? You are muted, Dolapo.
Good afternoon. Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so we're able to ask our questions at the end of all the sessions. So don't worry, write them down. We're going to answer your questions.
Please kindly confirm you can see my screen, everybody.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So today basically, as we'll be talking about the tax clearance certificate process for individual, right? As we all know that currently now the government is now making it mandatory for anyone who wants to travel or you want to do any foreign exchange transaction that relates to Form A or like whatever foreign exchange transaction it is. It is now mandatory that you tender your tax clearance certificates. So this is now more like the talk of the town because everybody wants to get into a tax clearance certificate to ensure that whatever application, maybe you want to pay for your school fee, you want to japa, you want to travel, you'll be able to like have access to your Form A approval. So this is one of the key area of tax where everybody is ensuring that, okay, I get my tax clearance certificate. So it does not hinder me in processing anything I want to process as you may need it. So let's go straight to our outline. So we want to know what tax clearance certificate is and what are the needs for tax clearance certificates, because majority thinks it's just for I want to travel, I want to pay for my school fees. There's more to why you need it actually, right? So we'll get to know that today. Also, we need to also be talking about the agencies that are involved in issuing of this tax clearance certificate. We have the we'll talk about that as well in the course of this slide. So basically, what is tax clearance certificate is in Nigeria is basically an official document, right, stating that an individual or an entity does not owe tax for a period of time specified in the certificates. So most of the time, your tax clearance certificate will carry a period of 3 years. For example, now if you want to get your tax clearance certificate for 2023, it will cover the period of 2020, 2021, and 2022. So it covers the last 3 years period, and it shows the your total revenue for the period and the amount of tax you have paid. So the whole excess of you having a tax clearance certificate will show that, okay, I've been compliant with my taxes for the period as stated in the certificate. Also, it is a document confirming that you have no pending assessments on your tax obligation. So this is what TCC does for you. Once you have it, it shows that you have no pending assessments regarding your tax obligations as an individual or as a company. So it is a document that is very, very important, as it serves as a form of clearance for you in terms of whatever it is you need it for. So let's now go to why we need this tax clearance certificate. So as my previous slide, you see that the government is now banks are now demanding for tax clearance certificates on all foreign exchange transactions. That is, if you want to convert from one currency to another, the bank wants to see your tax clearance certificate, or you want to pay using the FORME application or the FORME route, you have to tender your tax clearance certificate to ensure that your FORME is being approved. So now, why do we actually need this tax clearance certificate? Number one is to apply for a trade, import, and export license. That is, you need to get approval for your trade license, for your import and export license. The government will require that you submit your tax clearance certificate. Also, if you want to apply for contracts from government or government agencies or companies owned by the government, you need your tax clearance certificate for that. Also, to process government loans for businesses or for trade. That is, if you want to get loans from the government for your business or for your trade, the government will, of course, demand for your tax clearance certificate. Another point I have here is to obtain gaming and agency license. That is, for those that are into this gaming business, you need your tax clearance certificate to get a license from the government. Also, to obtain certificate of occupancy for a land. That is, if you want to occupy a land, you need your tax clearance certificate to be able to obtain your certificate of occupancy for a land. Please, can you still hear me? Can you please confirm that you can hear me clearly?
Yes, we can, Adida. We can hear you loud and clear. We can also hear you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we also have another point I have here is to serve as an identity card to an individual. That is, it's more like like I said, it's a clearance to show that, okay, Adedayo is compliant with his taxes. It's not owing the government any tax liability. So it's a form of identity to show that, okay, this person, this company is free from any pending assessments from his tax obligations. Also, the steps to apply for change of ownership of property, it could be land, house, and vehicle, etc. Also, the last point I have here is to apply for Form A and other FX transactions. So for people that want to go to school, you want to study abroad, and you want to apply for your Form A, the government will, of course, the bank will, of course, require that you submit your tax clearance certificate to ensure, it's part of the requirement to ensure your Form A is being approved. So these are some of the major needs why you need to get your tax clearance certificate. It's not just because of the Form A transaction or the Forex transaction. There are a lot of benefits why you need your tax clearance certificate for. Also, for companies, for corporate bodies that want to sign business contracts, you want to close out a deal, at times your customers or your potential contractors will demand that, okay, please let us see your tax clearance certificate to actually know if this company is being compliant with its taxes. So because nobody wants to sign a contract with a company that is not paying tax or that has not been paying tax, so we need to see an evidence, a clearance to show that, okay, we are compliant with our taxes. So these are some of the needs why that shows the importance of having the tax clearance certificate as an individual and also as a corporate body. So then we have the agencies that are in charge of issuance of the tax clearance certificates. So they are in two categories. We have the State Internal Revenue Service, and then we have the Federal Inland Revenue Service. So now for the State Internal Revenue Service is they basically issue these tax certificates to individuals. That is, if you are self-employed or you are employed, that is, you are employed under a company where you are like, yeah, that of course deducting payee from your salary. So whether you are employed or self-employed as an individual, you get your tax certificate from the State Internal Revenue Service. It could be the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, depending on your state of residency. And then for corporate bodies, that is for companies, that is limited liability companies, right? You get your tax certificate from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It will be very odd for an individual to go to the FIRS to demand for a tax certificate. So also it will be very odd for a company to go to the State Internal Revenue Service to demand for tax clearance certificate. So basically, these are the two agencies that are in charge of issuance of tax clearance certificates. While for the individual category, this is depending on your state of residence, that is where you work and the state in which you reside. Also for companies is, of course, is the Federal Inland Revenue that is in charge of issuance of tax clearance certificate to every company. So for you to qualify to get this, you must have fulfilled your tax obligations. You must have ensured that you have no pending assessments regarding your taxes. So this is where I'll stop for now. My other colleague will continue from here. Thank you so much for time.
Thank you so much, Adedayo. Thank you so much. Also, I would like to mention that if you would like to get your TCC, you can reach out to any of the speakers. They would definitely help with that. It could take about a day or two, right? Adedayo, please confirm that. So if you would like to get your TCC, we are very much available to help with that. Okay, so our next speaker is Jessica. So if we were in the last training, we would know Jessica. And yes, she's here again. Hi, Jessica. Good to see you.
Hi, Dolapo. Thanks for having me again. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me again. And for those that have not met with me, I'm Jessica Oluwadare, your able and gentle girl. We're here again for the same, to solve problems as tax problem solvers. So so thank you, Dorat, for that. So we don't want to take much of our time. We'll be going through the practical process, just as my other colleague have actually explained. Tax clearance is not just for those that want to japa, in general terms. I just hope one day japa will be part of the Oxford Dictionary, meaning whatever it is, because it's not the order of the day. When you try to call someone,
I agree with you.
When you try to call someone on mobile and then you hear the number you've called is not available and all of that, you tried it the second time, you tried it the third time, just have it in mind that, oh, this person have already japa. And the funny part is you go to the WhatsApp call and then the number is ringing. Just have it is japa already. But anyway, it's also a good thing. Well, we'll continue to pray for our country, and we just hope things get better, and we are still here, that we are not jackpotting anytime soon. We just pray that God will continue to provide for us to survive the economy. So just as my colleague have said, based on the individual tax clearance and the corporate, I want to just take us briefly on the corporate tax clearance, where some of us might be aware of it, some of us have actually gotten it, why some don't even know how it is being processed or how we can actually get it. The good thing is, before this new development, the tax clearance has always been, you just have to go to the tax office, the FIRS office, you meet with them, you reconcile your outstanding taxes, you keep going back and forth, bring this, bring that, just for you to get this. But all thanks to our chairman, he's still the chairman anyway, because he has not, the new government has actually not replaced him. So thanks to our chairman for making it very easy for us. All we have to do is just go to the e-service platform of the FIRS, click on generate TCC, and then your TCC is downloaded. Basically, that is how it is. However, the most important of all is we just have to make sure all taxes have been paid, because now they've actually linked the tax promise to they've actually synchronized it with the e-service. So whenever you want to generate your TCC, if you have any outstanding on your tax promise, it will automatically say, oh, you have an outstanding on your tax promise. So please kindly visit your tax office to resolve any outstanding issues. But the good thing also is if you file your VAT on a monthly basis, your financial statement filed to date, of course, you just go to the e-service as well and just download or generate your TCC. That's for corporate. Let me just take us through a short process of how it is. Every one of us should be familiar with the e-service. Before the tax promise, we have actually been using the e-service. Let me share my screen. One second, please. Okay. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Is it the way I'm sharing the screen or?
Yeah, we can see your screen already.
Oh, you can see it already. Okay, so we'll just go to the.
You can't see it. Oh, I can't see your
You
screen.
can't see it. Oh,
At all.
okay.
I think
One
you need to
second.
go to the browser you want us to see.
First, okay. Can we see this there?
Yeah, I can see
Yes,
the
yes, we
Google.
can see this on Google.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So the e-service is just the e-service firs.gov.ng. So we'll come to the e-service session. The same login details you have for your tax promise is the same thing we'll be using for your e-service. Like I said, the both has actually been synchronized together. So I'll be using just one for one of our clients. I have quite a lot here, but I'll just pick one. Let's just pick this one. You just put in the password and then the email address. So it takes us here, come to the task clearance certificate section, and it's here. Click on generate TCC. Yes, this company I've actually used as an example is yet to commence business. So because the company is yet to commence business, the TCC cannot be generated. So he's saying we should visit the local tax office. Now, for companies that are yet to commence business operation, you just have to visit the tax office and then tell them that, oh, I need a tax clearance. They are the only one that can actually give you a nil tax clearance. They are the one that can issue it for you. But in a situation whereby all your taxes have been paid and you don't have any outstanding on the tax promise, you just go to the same way I had to log in and then you click generate TCC. It automatically brings out the TCC and then we are good. So that is just for the corporate TCC. Now, for what we are here in particular is the individual tax clearance. Just as my colleague have also explained, there's a lot of reasons, not just for the jack buying alone. There's a lot of reasons why we need the tax clearance. So I just want us to also take notes of some of these items. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I
can.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so other things to take notes. Payee must be remitted on or before the 10th day of the month following the payment of salary. Payee tax deducted from January salary should be remitted by the 10th of February. So it's a preceding month remittance. The moment a payee is deducted, it should be remitted on the 10th of the following month. Individuals are to file returns not later than 31st March annually in respect of the preceding year. Now, individuals, the 31st March is particular about the directors, a business owner, a sole proprietorship. If you own a business, if you are a director of a company, you are mandated to file your returns 31st of March. Now, here is saying annually, yes, you have to file it, you have to be on the e-tax, and then file. Now, based on the new developments of the LRS now, it have actually mandated all staff, even as an employee of a company, you are mandated to also file between January to 31st of March. So, which means that even if your employer have actually filed your returns latest by 31st of January, you as an individual, you still have to go to the e-tax, you log into the platform and then file your salary, your gross salary in particular. Yes, I believe most of us will also have other income. Well, if we don't want to disclose that, we are all Nigerians now. Aside from where you are being paid your salary on a monthly basis, you might actually do one or two things for someone and then the person pays you off. I'm sure nobody wants to agree with me that you want to disclose that part of the income. But whichever the case may be, it is also mandated that where you're working as an employer, or as an employee rather, after your employer have filed your Form H1, the annual returns as they used to do every year, you are also mandated as an individual, as an employee. You log into the platform and then file. Now, I'm going to take us through this. Where the other column is saying the penalties for not filing individual is 50,000 naira. So this is practically saying that the way we know it before, that we say, oh, it's just the directors that are filing the returns. Now, it is no longer the directors that are filing the returns. And why is it mandated that individual as a staff should file? All still comes down to the fact that you need a TCC. And before that TCC can actually be issued to you, you still need to file your returns. So I'm going to take us through the process of how we can file for the purpose of this TCC. If you're familiar with the site, we can just go to the etax.lrs.net.ng. I'm going to be using my own page. I will log in with my password. Please confirm you can see my screen. Oh.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, some of us might not have a password. If you don't have a password, because I have to do, if you just go to forget password, you click the forget password, and then it takes you to where you insert your payer ID. You insert your payer ID and proceed. Now, you get a text message for an OTP. That OTP is what you will put in the next page after this. You insert the OTP. The OTP will either be sent to your email or your phone number. So for any of us that have maybe your profile or your information on the FLRS data is not correct, you just have to you can actually speak with them on these chats live with FDEX. They are always there. Monday to Fridays, they are always there. You just click on it and then you start your chat. They will attend to you immediately. So whatever updates you want to do, they will actually do it for you. They can change your password. They can change whatever information you want to change from your profile if your profile is not on, because the OTP will only be sent to either your email or your telephone number before you can change, for those that don't have a password. But in my own case, I already have a password. So I'm just going to log in with my password. Just going to log in with my password. So it brings me here. Yes, the thing is, I'm a tax consultant, but I've not, even because I'm not jack buying, so I've not done all the necessary things I need to do. So if I have to do anything, I can just say download TCC. If I click download TCC, it will pop up the information that, oh, your TCC so thing is outstanding and all of that. So basically, the only thing you can see is saying taxpayer record does not have profile picture. So if I can actually upload my profile picture anytime I want to, all you just have to do is click on it, upload picture, you choose an image from your desktop or from wherever, and then update. It automatically reflects. So the other part is the address part. I actually link my address. They've updated my profile That is why I'm getting my address as completed. Now, annual returns for 3 years, employer. This is saying that my employer had actually filed returns for the last 3 years. So that is why I'm adding completed. Now, this part of the individual returns for 3 years is the part which I'm actually saying now that you as an individual, you are also mandated to do what? To file your own returns. So if I had actually filed my returns, just as my employer had actually done, it will actually come out as completed. Then whatever assessment, these other two parts will be done by the LRS staff or individual officials. They are the one that is in charge that will activate these last two subjects. So for individual returns, now it's saying 3 years. We all know that CCC is a yearly thing. So if I want to file my returns now, I can only file for 2022. I've actually not done that as well. I can only file for 2022. So in this kind of scenario, you file for 2022, it still shows that you still have an understanding of 2021 and 2020. Because the tax clearance, just as my colleague has said, the tax clearance covers for 3 years, 2020, 2021, and 2022. So I can only file for 2022. I will still have to communicate with them at the head office or at any tax station that, oh, I can't have access to the other 2 years. Can you please help me upload this? Then what they will say is, oh, okay, as your company or your employer, have they filed your returns? I will just tell them, yes, they have filed it. They will request for the payer ID of the company to confirm if your name is actually in the annual returns. So if your name is not there, then the other new developments, I will explain that later. Now, for just this page in particular, all I have to do, because I'm an employee, all I earn is salary. I just put my salary here. Let me say it's going to be in annual salary. Let me say, well, 400,000. I'll just put 400,000 here. Every other one, if you earn commission, maybe you actually work for somebody and you got a commission from it. If you want to add it, I think the main reason why they are saying individuals should file returns, they find out that income for them. So every other income is not taxable, which is wrong. So they are trying to capture everybody into the tax net. Now, if they now say, oh, okay, I disagree with you, this amount is not your actual income that you earn in a year, and you say, no, it's my income, and the next thing they will ask you, oh, please provide us with your bank statement. I'm sure nobody wants to release their personal bank statement for whatsoever reason. So if you have a commission aside from your salary, you put in your commission. Trade income, if you have a trade income, if you're a business person and you have a trade income, you put in your trade income there. Then allowances, if you have any other allowances, you put it. This pension part is not the pension remittance page. It's actually those pensioners that want to file. You can decide to file because, of course, if you're any pension, you're not expected to pay tax or file any returns. So all you just do, you can just put in your pension there. Of course, they won't tax it. It's going to be new or zero tax at the end of the day. So this pension part is the pension you earn in that year. You can put it then annuity. If you have any of that, you put it gratuity as well. For a lot of us that maybe you've worked in a company for a very long time and then you were given a gratuity for that amount, you can actually put it there. Then foreign income, if you have a rental, will be zero. So that takes us to the next column, which says mandatory disclosure of accommodation. I just put in my accommodation information, my accommodation type, ownership, who owns it? Am I a landlord? Am I a tenant? Is it a will for me? Is it my father's that owns it? Did I inherit it rather? Did I inherit it? Then you put the taxpayer's ID, which is the owner of the building, in the case where you are not the owner of the building. But if you're the owner, you put in your payer ID, then the same address. If you're paying rent on where you are, you put in the rent amount. If it's your employer that is actually paying the rent on your behalf, you put it, and then the dates, you select the dates, which is the period which the year you're filing your returns on, and then you click next. So when you click next, it actually takes you to support staff if you have any. If you don't have, it takes you to the asset part where you disclose your assets or you add any of your assets. If you don't, it takes you to other deductions. Other deductions are the relief, the pension part. That column, you actually upload your pension so that they will see it at the LRS portals and then grant you the necessary relief that is required. So if I do all these things and then file, at this bottom, it will bring out the whole information of the amount that I filed as tax. So in this case, in this scenario, like I used to say, if you are in, like I said, if you are a salary earner and you know tax have already been deducted from you. So if any LRS official, maybe your office is at Ilukweju, like my office is at Ilukweju, so we are under the Ilukweju tax office. If they review the returns and they check through my own returns as well, of course, they can't expect me to still pay tax again on that salary. So it will automatically synchronize, and then they will see that, oh, this person is from this company. The same salary that was declared in the annual return that the company has filed is also going to be the same one that this individual has declared. Where there is a difference or where there is an other income, that other income will actually be taxed, which you pay tax on. So that is that on that. Now, because of the LRS new rules for you to get your tax clearance, all they are not saying is, even if, because this is actually what triggered the whole tax clearance issues, and then now they are saying that even I've actually processed tax clearance for quite a number of people with this short period, and few of them are like, oh, as of 2020, I'm unemployed. Why am I paying the so amount? Yes, because even if you file the returns, even if they issue a TCC that is nil, the bank will still not accept it. So there has to be payment. So what the LRS is now saying is, oh, you have to pay a minimum of 50,000 naira, even if you are not employed. Even if you're a student, you have to pay a minimum of 50,000 naira. Yes, I'm not employed. I didn't work for in 2020. Why am I paying 50,000 naira? The truth is, in as much as we want to fight that, in as much as the amount is also high, in as much as nobody is willing to do that, but we still have to pay. It is what the government wants. And like I used to say, like I told one of my colleagues as well, your focus should be on the goal. What you need the tax clearance for should be your priority, even though the amount is not convenient, but you just have to pay it. It is the LRS rules. It is what they have said, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Well, maybe later, maybe a lawyer will come up and say, no, this is not possible. But at the moment, the 50,000 naira still stands. So you pay for the 50,000 naira under direct assessment. Now, as at last week, the 50,000 naira, you can just pay it into the LRS account, and then you get your TCC. But now, the LRS is saying no, because that is part of the new development. Before you pay that 50,000 naira, there is need for them to generate an assessment. Now, for example, someone like me now, I didn't work in 2020, and I want to get my tax clearance. All I need to just do, I will have to visit the tax office and then say, oh, please, I need the tax clearance for so that will cover so time. I didn't work in 2020, I worked in 2021 and 2022. What am I going to do? The LRS will generate an assessment for you. So when they generate the assessment will come here under this assessment column. Here is saying they are currently no associated assessment. The assessment will pop up here. It's still going to be the 50,000 naira. What they just want to do is, oh, put this 50,000 naira here, unlike the one that we can just pay the money and then the TCC will be generated. But in this case, the 50,000 naira will be paid. It will reflect on your e-tax page, and then there will be a column that will say pay now. So if you want to make the payments, it's different from you just going to generate bill. When you go to generate your bill and then just make payment to either of the tax offices here. But they are saying that when the assessment is raised, you come to this assessment page, it will actually reflect there that you have a 50,000 naira payment that is due. You go there, you click pay now. So when you click pay now, it will automatically redirect you to the generate bill, this page. It will bring you back to this page where you will select the tax office in which you want to pay to. All tax offices in Lagos is here. Then the whatever revenue it is you want to pay for. Maybe you just, if it's for those that are not employed, that wants to pay the 50,000 naira, you have to pay to, let's say, I select Ilupeju tax office. So you have to click direct assessment. You're clicking direct assessment because you can't click payee, because as at the time you are not on payee, so you're paying it directly. So you pay direct assessment, select the currency, the start date, which is the year 2020 January, then 2020 December to date, and then it generate bill. So it automatically generates it.
I'm not saying
You can
that
either
fast.
oh, apologies. I'm trying to
too
pick up
fast.
all the time. Oh.
How did
Should
I
have caught my
okay.
attention earlier. I'm trying to beat.
Apart from being fast, your
Okay.
line is breaking too.
My line is breaking. Wow.
Oh no, yeah, you're not breaking at my end. So I think it's your network, or is anyone experiencing that? Please let us know.
Please let us know before I continue.
Anyone? Okay, no one. So I think we're good.
Hello,
You
the
probably
only
have to
issue
change
here
your
is that
network.
you are fast. You are fast.
Oh,
Yeah, the line is breaking from my end. So.
apologies for being fast, because we want to actually take as much as possible, a lot of questions before the time goes off. That's why I'm trying to be so fast so that we can give room for questions. But I'll try and take it slow now. Let me slow down.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so
No problem.
okay, all right. So as I was saying, the assessment part.
But not too slow.
Okay, but they're not too slow. Okay, so the assessment part, basically what I'm saying about the assessment is, before you pay the 50,000 naira for someone that did not work and you need the tax clearance for the 3 years, the LRS have to generate an assessment first before making payments. As of last week, this development was not in place, but now it is mandatory. And not just you getting the direct assessment. There's this form you will fill. I'm going to share it. So this form, confirm if you're seeing my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, I
So
can.
this is
Yes, you can.
okay. All right. So this is the new form that has been issued by
We
the
can see your
LRS.
screen. We can see your screen.
So every individual that wants to process this TCC for this purpose is mandated to fill this form. So when you fill this form, they'll print it out and then process your TCC. These are parts of the new development for the TCC processing. So, one second, please. Okay, so that's about the TCC. Now, I'm also going to show us something, because a lot of people have been asking that, oh, but I have a tax card. Why am I now getting another tax clearance? Now, the TCC that is being issued, this is how it looks like. This is how the TCC looks like, the online one that is being requested by the bank. This is how it looks like. The years of assessment is there, the total income, the chargeable income, tax payable, and tax paid. Now, this person is not employed, has never worked, so he's let me say he's a self-employed person. So in this kind of scenario, he's mandated to pay the 50,000. If you look at the tax paid part, he paid the 50,000 for the 3 years. As at the time I processed this TCC for this person, the issue of assessment had not come into existence. So as at this time, we just paid the money directly into the LRS platform, and then we got the receipts, and then the TCC was processed. So that is the scenario of this person. Now, the other task clearance, which is this, is also as important as that one. The information in this one is still the same thing, the same information in this one. The difference between the two is that this one is online generated, while this one is a physical task card. I have my task card on this, and this task clearance is the one I have not done. Maybe because I'm not planning to japa anytime soon anyway, or maybe later in the future, if I want to build my house in Banana Island, I'm sure they will ask me to bring that. So I will definitely do that for sure. But right now, that is the two task clearances. So both of them are really in existence, are actually active. But the difference between it is the task card, the banks are not accepting the task card because it can easily be done. There's always something, maybe they can easily manufacture fake. So I guess that's the reason why they are not accepting the task card. So, but the online one is not easy to do, because according to what they say, it will actually synchronize with the LRS platform to confirm that, oh, truly, this person is on e-tax. So that is that on task clearances. So okay, now on the part of payee, let me put this out straight. I'm sure by now a lot of us receive text messages from NRS whenever our payee is being done, and some will say, oh, I receive monthly text messages, notification that my payee has been remitted, or I go to my e-tax and log in and I see that there is no taxes there. Yes, that is because your taxpayer ID is yet to be updated. So for me, even though I find it really odd, but LRS being LRS, I don't know. I believe and I expect that the moment I get the alert, it should automatically reflect in my payer ID. But when I go to the e-tax and log in, it is definitely not showing. So what they'll say is, oh, your tax ID needs to be updated. And what do you need to update it? If you have, you just go to your tax station or your tax office and then tell them, oh, you need your pay ID to be updated. Basically, it's still going to be the same process of the annual returns filing. So if your employer is not filing your returns, there's no way they can actually update your pay ID. So that is all about tax clearance certificates. It's almost 6 o'clock, so let me just give room for question. Dolapo, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you. I hope that has been insightful for us and also answered a lot of questions that we've had in mind. Okay, so we're going to be taking questions now. And yeah, okay, so Olakule has actually been, also before I forget, if you want to get your TCC, you can reach out to any of our speakers to do that for. It takes about a day or two. So if you would like to get your TCC, please reach out and it will be done. Okay, Olakule's hand has been up since. You can just raise your hand. Please just raise your hand. Joseph, I can see that you have a question, but you can just say so that we do it accordingly. Yeah, Adida, you wanted to say something? Adida, you wanted to say something?
Yes. I wanted
Okay,
to stop
you are
sharing.
echoing. You are echoing.
Sorry.
You wanted me to do what, Adida?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want Jessica to stop sharing her screen so that we can see everybody.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
so I would have wanted Olakule to speak first because his hand has been up for a while, but I think his network and then either he left the call or his hand was down. Okay, so email Kon, please let's have your question. 2 minutes, in fact, 1 minute, and 2 questions each, please, so that we can accommodate everyone. Go ahead. Ime Okon, Sunday. Are you there? Okay, if you're not, Salami, Damilola, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Good evening. Damilola,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
thank you so much for this class. So I wanted to ask, um, for an employee that the company has been filing annual results for the past
Can
6
you
years.
please speak up so that we can hear you clearly?
Yes.
Because-
Yes.
Remove your
Speak up.
earphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, it's way better
Better.
now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it is better. Yes, we can. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
So I wanted to ask that for an employee that wants to get TCC, and then the company has been filing for the past 3 years, but then when you log into your portal, it's still showing that they've not filed or they've not done annual filing on the company's portal, which is not true because I checked and I saw that my name was there. So what could be the issue of, company is filing for you annually, but then it's still showing on your own portal that they've not filed, that you have your employer has not filed for you for the past 3 years. That's one. Then two, so for employee now that company has been filing but they've not been remitting, what's the implication? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, we can. Jessica, please, do you want to take that?
Yes. So for the first question, you said company has been filing, but you checked and it's not reflecting on your promise. Like I said before that there is need for an update. In that kind of scenario, is the tax office. All you just have to do is a letter. You can actually do an official letter saying, oh, I don't know if you're in your, maybe you have a tax consultant or you are the one in charge of it. So if you are in charge of it, all you just have to do is do a letter to your tax station and tell them that, oh, you need the payment, the tax payment for so period be updated in your staff payer ID. So you do a list, like a schedule. You do a list of your staff with their payer ID. And also those payer ID, you need to confirm if they are on e-tax. Although by the time they start to do the updates, I'm sure they might say, oh, this person is not on e-tax. The reason why some don't get updates or on e-tax is BVN issues. Now they use BVN. Date of birth issues, the date of birth on your BVN is different from what is on wherever you register from, and then it's causing conflicts. So if you are clean and clear on e-tax, just write a letter to the tax office, tell them to do an update. They automatically update everything for you. So your amount, your tax, your taxes will reflect on your payer ID. It's just updates. Since you are sure that your employer has actually filed returns for you every year. So, and also that other part of where individual need to file returns as a staff as well. I think the LRS have made it mandatory now. The moment you are filed for your company, you as an individual, whether a staff, a director or anything, just go to the same platform and then file your salary in and submit. Just file it in and submit. So it will automatically reflect on your payer ID. Then the other parts for companies that don't file, that have not been filing, or they've not been remitting, and it's been deducted. Please confirm the question.
They are not remitting.
They are not remitting. They are not remitting, but they are deducting from the staff salary.
Yes.
And the company have a payer ID.
Sure.
Oh, well, in that kind of scenario, I don't know what I would advise. I would have actually advised that you visit your tax station and maybe lay a complaint in respect to that anonymously, and then tell them, oh, we discovered that this company is deducting from our payee, but they are not remitting. So that's what I would suggest we should do anonymously. So they won't come and say, oh, you are the one that actually went to report, because it is wrong. For not filing, there's a penalty for it. For not remitting, there's also a penalty for it. For not filing for corporate, it's 500,000 naira. And then for not remitting, there is a 10% and a the portion. The penalty for non-payment of payee is 10% per annum of the amount plus interest on an annual basis at the bank lending rate. In practice, a one-off interest rate of 15% to 21 is applied, while the late filing attracts a fine of 500,000. And LRS are actually being particular about this penalty because they know that a lot of companies will deduct and they won't remit. So there's penalty for non-payment of it, for not remitting, and there's also a penalty for not filing. So like I said, you can either go to the tax station and report anonymously that, oh, this is what you discover. The company has a pay ID, is an existing company, they are deducting salary and they are not remitting. So I'm very sure the LRS, they will be happy to visit the company. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
I would like to add to that question. So
Okay.
for companies that have been deducting your pay and they are not remitting, so the best thing for you to do is to just make a whistleblowing, right?
Yeah.
That's if you are no more in the company. But if you are still in that company, it will be risky for you to do that. But if you are no more in the company, it's best for you to like do a whistleblowing, send a mail to the company requesting for your outstanding payee deducted that have not been remitted. And if they didn't respond, then you can take it up to the tax authority. I'm very sure that they will respond. By the time you send multiple reminders to them and all, they will surely respond.
Yeah.
So the best solution to this is to do a whistleblowing and ensure that you get your outstanding payee from your company.
Yeah. Okay. Hope we've answered your question, Damilola.
I hope so too. Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you, Adebayo.
Yes, you
The
have.
next person is the next person is Dorothy. Dorothy, can we have your question?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I wanted to confirm, the form that you showed earlier, where you said that's the one that you use in applying for the TCC, is that applicable to a corporate organization for their staff? Will each of the staff need to fill all that form?
Okay, so the form I shared, this one, is particularly for, if you look at the header, it says business personal travel allowance taxpayers request form. It's for those that
I'm
want
not
to.
sharing. I don't know if it's only me that can.
Okay. Okay. It's okay. So it's just particular for those that want to apply for the BTA and then the for the BTA and the what's it called, PTA. Is just applicable for them. For any other person that wants to get the online TCC, it's just can actually write the letter to them and tell them, oh, we need to update our records and then generate our TCC. So since you're on annual returns, it's fine. They will actually do it and then upload it for you. So you can download it at any point in time. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much, Jessica. Okay, Dorothy Abayomi, can we have your question? Dorothy. Okay, Yusuf. Yusuf, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay.
Good evening. Yeah. So
Good
my
evening.
question is, when Jessica was trying to take us through her portal, so it's shown that the employer has filed and it has been completed, but for individual, it's still showing pending. So let's assume I want to process my TCC as an individual. Do I have to? What do I have to do? Do I have to pay the 50,000 naira because I have not been filing? Or do you get my question?
Yes, I do. So as an
Okay.
individual, okay. Can
Yes.
I answer you? Okay. As an individual, since your employer has filed, you don't need to pay the 50,000 naira. So, like I showed on my own page, it's showing that I can only file for 2022. So, which is like, I didn't file for 2021, I didn't file for 2020. So, all I had to do is still go to the tax office and tell them, oh, my employer has actually filed for these years, but I can't go back and file. So, please, you just have to find a way around it. The LRS always have a way to do it. They will inject it from their own platform. They will inject those 2 years for you. So when they inject those 2 years, that's the returns that was filed for you, particularly your own gross salary that was filed on the employer's annual returns. They will inject it into your page. So, and then they will ask you to go and log in to your page and confirm submission. So you will confirm submission for the 2 years. So it will automatically reflect that you filed for the 3 years. So you don't need to pay 50,000 again, since you're already on annual returns and employers' annual returns. So it's the LRS that can actually insert those 2 years. So that's why they said going forward, all staff, all individuals should make sure they file, even after the company has filed, so that you won't have to start going to the tax office and telling them to do that.
Okay, thank you so much. And the form, can it be gotten online or we have to get it through LRS office?
The form?
Yes.
Yeah, the form, you get it at the tax office. They issue it to you, they issue it to you, and or better still, we can actually provide it for you on the tax and problem solvers, and then you fill, and then you can take it to the tax office, or better still, if you want us to do the processing for you, we are always available to do that.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. OABC, Oyefunso.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, so thank you, Madam Jessica, for the time. Firstly, I will appreciate if we can get the soft copy of that of your first write-up. I talk about I missed that one. I've forgotten. I just met the
You mean the
slide.
slide?
Yes, that area. I will appreciate if we can get the soft copy. My question is based on the direct assessment.
Okay.
Now, I'm facing one challenge now. Presently, I want the TCC, TCC, so I want to present it at the bank. But now, for me to get the TCC, I've been filing in since 2 years, 3 years back now for my direct assessment. On payee, director on payee. I've been filing in for her for past 3 years, even 4 years now. But this year, I'm not finding it difficult because we have not been assessed for this year. But from the years back, we just pay after paying as in payee. We just pay a sum of like 150,000 to sum up after doing assessment from the tax office. But this year, I met with their boss at this area, and I said, okay, we'll get the direct assessment in order to process the stuff. So my question is this: to get this TCC form process, the area where you showed us on the form, on the portal, to file in, I've done all those things. I've filled all the necessary things. But for me, I don't know, maybe because it has been saved in their portal, being a director, that's why I'm not be able to have a progress on it, or because we have not been assessed for last year, because we only pay for what was paid taxable for last year, that's 2022. We have not, so that's my question. What may cause it? Is it because we have not been assessed for that last year, or because the tax office has not been concluded our issue? Because I don't just understand. I've been on this since February. Thank you. That's
Okay.
my question.
So all right. Now for directors' assessment, you know, norm on the norms, directors are not supposed to be on payroll, even if they are earning salary, because it is assumed that they have other income. Fine, it might be the company policy that directors should be on payroll, but just to avoid all these things, it is always better for directors to be off the payroll and then filed, even if they are earning salary. You can actually file direct assessment for them. That is one. And secondly, paying for just making a one-off payment is not also ideal. It is always better for you to hold on. Fine, you can also do a monthly, you can decide to be paying something every month, but it's always advisable that, oh, let us wait till when the assessment comes out and then you file. And then, when the assessment comes out, you pay. Because along the line, you might actually end up, by the time you say you want to be paying it in bits, you might actually end up paying more. The liability might be more, because you know the way LRS are. They don't expect, they want a higher tax. So that's why sometimes I always advise that let's just hold on. Let's just hold on for those that are filing for directors. The moment you file, just wait till when the assessment comes out. When the assessment is out, then you cannot pay. Do you understand? So in that kind of situation, all you just have to do is, for that your director you're talking about, she can still get the tax clearance if you do the online one for her. She can still get the tax clearance for the online one as well. So aside from the online one, all you just have to do is still go through the same process. You still have to go through the same process of getting the tax clearance. Now, for our own case in particular, just file whatever you want to file. File everything, the filings. 1 second, please.
Okay, so let me Jessica here. I think I saw some questions in the
Sorry about that.
In the chat box.
I saw some questions in the chat box. Can you do a recap on corporate TCC? So for corporate TCC, like Jessica said, you need to apply for it, provided that your company is tax compliant, provided that your company does not have any outstanding tax liabilities. All you just need to do is to log into the e-service portal. Let me try and share my screen to show you an example of that again. Please, can you see my screen?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, sure now.
So all you just need to do is to log into the e-service portal. This e-service portal, for instance, and then I log in. Sorry. So once you log in, it's like to pop up a page like this for you to check. Then you click on the tax plan certificate. That's provided that your company is compliant. They have no outstanding liabilities and all. So once you click on your tax plan certificates, then this page will come up. Right, you can see that this company and they have been issued TCC for the year. Please, can you see this on my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
So this company has been issued for the year, and this is how once you view it, you download it to see how the TCC looks like. This is an example of TCC for corporate corporate body. Yeah. So that's basically it. Then another question: can I do this TCC without involving consultants or LRS officials? Well, if you are, I doubt this, but except if, well, for corporate bodies, right, you might not really need to involve the FRS official, but for LRS, you still need them to help you update your records so that everything can fall in place on your portal for you to be able to like download it. So there's no, I feel like you still need the LRS official to be able to like get your TCC for for LRS. Yeah. So was there anything like individual filing before now? Apart from that, of course, yes. Individual, you're meant to file your returns on or before March 31st of every year. So like for the returns of 2022, as an individual, you're meant to file your returns on or before March 31st, 2023. So that's for individual. For your employer, they are meant to file your pay returns. That is what they have been deducting from your salary on or before the 31st of January every year. So individuals are meant to file their returns immediately after your employer have filed your returns. Then the number 4 questions. Actually, I'm not supposed to ask questions because an individual is meant to just ask 2 questions. So if this individual filing is development, why it is not a new development. The only new development here is the fact that tax clearance certificate is now compulsory, is now mandatory, and or every like banks are demanding for it to ensure that you get your formal approval. So it's not very important. It's an important document, and let me just put it that way. You need to have it to be able to like have access to a lot of government benefits, and so that is why it is very, very important. And the threshold LRS has placed for it is 50K minimum returns. So yeah, I think I'm good with that question.
Okay, Adida, please can we go on with people that raise their hands up so that we do it in an orderly manner. Yeah. Okay, Evaristos, please can we have your question? Also, can we make this as fast as possible so that we know we're able to accommodate everybody? Evaristos, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good
okay,
evening.
please can we have your question? Good evening.
All right. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the session. Well, my question is to Abigail while he was taking his own talk. He made mention about using the TCC as an identity card. What do you mean? Do you mean that it can be used in place of our NIN? Maybe when we want to open a bank account or something like that. Does that go for the identity card as you highlighted in the need for the tax clearance?
Okay, thank you for that question. So please, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
Sure, we can hear you.
Okay, so what I meant by it, what I meant by an identity card is because it's a form of clearance that shows that if, for instance, you go to the bank and the bank is demanding that, okay, let's say you need government, you want to enjoy a benefit from the government, and they are asking you for your tax clearance certificate. Of course, it's your identity, but at that moment, it serves as an identity for you to be able to like benefit from that particular government benefit you want to enjoy. For instance, now it's just something like saying your national ID card, your passport, your voter's card. So, but for this one, it's just a tax clearance certificate to show that, okay, for the last 3 years, I've been complying with my taxes, I have no outstanding, and this is my certificate. upload it. So it's more like your identity, of course. Yeah.
Okay, Evariste. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so the next person is Adiola. Adiola, please, can we have your question?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, thank you for the session. Okay, I just want to ask about the physical TCC. I want to know if it's still the same process of getting the physical TCC to go about. Can you hear me?
The physical TCC.
Yeah, the card.
You mean the task card?
The same process to get it. Yes, the task card. And also, I want to confirm the
yes, it's the same process.
Filing date for the the same process. Then the deadline for the filing for both corporate and individual. I think I had the test match and
okay for corporates. Yes, for corporate organization, you file your annual returns with LRS on or before 31st January of the preceding year.
Okay.
And for individual, is on or before 31st March. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Oluko Finisemi, can we have your question, please? Nifemi, are you on the call?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening. I think this section is very educative. Oh, my question is, how do we update the address? Because when she was taking the aspect, I think because she said our own address has been already updated. So how do we update address from our own end here? Because I've been trying that, is not coming up.
You want? I didn't get that very well. You want to update
the address on the LRS portal.
Okay.
Do we do that from our?
No, you can't do that from your end. Like I said initially, I said for you to update your payments into each of your staff, if you are in charge of it, you write a letter to the tax station where your file or where your company domicile, and then you do a kind of schedule, the name of your staff, the payer ID, and then the tax you've deducted for the year. So you attach it with it, yes, and then you submit.
Okay. Thank you, ma. Sorry, ma. I don't think you get my question. My question is, if I'm doing personal filing, or so if I want to request for TCC, we have like six aspects. We have the passport, we have the address. So how do I update the address?
I think you need to. Okay, we are not getting your
I'm
question.
not getting. I think your line is breaking.
Okay, maybe because I'm trying to connect my system with the same thing. Okay. Oh, Elema.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Better, ma. I said, if I want to request for TCC, that is a place that you can click download TCC. Once I click that place, it's pop up or upload passport, upload passport
picture.
Address, and address. I want to update my address. How do I do that? Because I'm trying to click on that. It's not popping up. It's not showing anything that I can input my address into.
Yes, you know, if the moment you log in with your pay ID and your password, it will actually show. It will show your information where it will say update or upload your picture. The only thing you can do is update your picture, and then your address must have actually been in line with the information. So it will say address completed, picture uploaded. Now, if your employer has filed returns to date, it will show returns completed. You understand? Every other one in that page will not show. It will not show. You have to make contact with them at the tax office too to help you do that.
Okay, let me add to that
Okay.
question. So I think another thing you can do to update your address, I think that's what the question is. Abi
Okay, is
was.
your address?
So what you would do is you can chat with the AI on the e-tax portal. There's a
Yeah.
chat box by your right hand screen. Chat with them,
Okay, sir.
put down your details, let them know that okay, you want to update your
Update your
address.
profile.
That
Yeah.
it's possible that you have left the address, you have left that address that is on your portal and you want to change it to where you are currently living. So just chat with the AI on that portal, they will do that for you. Very easy.
I appreciate.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Adidayo and Jessica. Grace, can we have your question? Grace, Grace, are you on the call?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can.
Okay, my question is for an individual who is not in employment and whose employer who have not been paying his or her tax, and maybe he needs this tax clearance to obtain this from process and all that, and he's not resident in Lagos, and the tax clearance issue here in Abuja is such that it doesn't come with that payer's ID, and the system at the bank is rejecting it. Is it possible for the person to re-register in Lagos just for the purpose of obtaining this tax clearance for the Form A filing?
Okay. So for residents in Abuja, the tax
Yeah,
clearance will be issued by FCT IRS. But
IRS,
if
yes.
it's rejecting it, I believe it should be an individual thing. So I don't know why the system is rejecting it. Maybe there's an error somewhere. But if such person, for the purpose of this, wants to do the Lagos State, the first thing the person will need to do is to get an address that will be carrying or that will be showing a Lagos State address. After which a payer ID will be generated for such person, and then the minimum tax payments of this 50,000 naira will be applicable to that person. So which means that if the person is willing to pay the 50,000 naira for the 3 years, of course the process can actually be done.
Okay, my question is now, is there not going to be a conflict between the person's TIN number here in FCT and that of Lagos TIN number?
Lagos State issues taxpayer ID that starts with N, letter N. It's different from the TIN number.
Okay,
Yeah, it's different from the TIN number.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Joseph, can we have your question?
Thank you very much for this lecture. Really appreciate you. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, we can. Please go
Okay,
ahead.
my question is this. Number one, I have been trying to get someone's password. I've forgot password, yet we are unable to get OTP.
Okay.
That's number one. Then number two, if I'm to get this tax clearance and you have to pay 50,000 for someone who is not working before now, how long will it take? So that I think I can, because the person has already paid some money before now to the bank with the payer ID, they have not been able to conclude it. So you can see how you go about it. I won't go, I will know how much to add to it and how long will it take to generate it.
Okay, for the first question on the password issue, LRS is having issues with OTP because I've also tried it with someone, but the OTP is not forthcoming. So all you have to do is you can chat with them also, that box in the e-tax page. You chat with them, you tell them that they should generate a default password for you. They will do that. They can ask you some personal questions just to be sure that you are the owner of the payer ID. You understand? So you just tell them that you need a default password, the OTP is not working, and you need to make some payments. So they will generate a default password for you. You put in the default password. When you type your payer ID and the default password, it will automatically take you to where you will change your password. Then you can put whatever password you desire. So then you go back to the main page and then log in. So it will come up to take you to the profile page. That's for that. Then for the TCC part of it, like I said, you can't, like as a last 2 weeks ago, you can make any payments and then they will issue the TCC. But the LRS just brought this whole what's it called, direct assessment. So there has to be a direct assessment that will be issued for that person before the person will make payments. So like I've explained before, when they issue the direct assessment, you will go to the person's page and click on assessments and then click pay now. So when you click pay now, it automatically takes you to where you will generate bill, or if you know you want to generate bill and pay at the bank, or if you know you want to use your ATM card to pay for that person, you can still click pay now. And then when you pay, it will reflect. So after that, you can then proceed with the processing at the tax
What
station
of
or
the
office.
what of the one we have paid earlier on to the bank?
Yes, the one you've paid earlier on, I don't know how much it is, but if it's up to 50K or if it's not up to 50K, if it's up to 50K, you still have to go to the tax office and meet them. Or better still, you just have to go to the tax office because they will not give you the tax clearance until they issue that direct assessment. According to my contact person, he said that's the new directive, that there has to be an assessment that will be raised before a payment can be made, and then they'll process the TCC. So that's the information I'm getting as at Tuesday last week.
Oh, okay, thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, Adesua, can we have your question? Adesua. Okay, Sukomi, you're next. Can we have your question, please?
Good evening, please.
Good evening.
Good
okay,
evening.
Adesua, are you on the call?
I'm on the call, please.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. All right. When I saw this, I practically saw this meeting around after 2, and I decided to join in. I've been wanting to get clarification on the TCC, individual TCC, for a while, and I wanted to ask from the part of an employer. So my first question is this: on the part of an employer, how many staff do you have to have before you actually start filing your tax, filing taxes for your employees? And must they be earning minimum wage? That's the question I want to ask. If I've gotten to the number that you're going to tell me of employees that I must have before I start filing pay on their behalf, must they be earning minimum wages, which is 30K? Because some of us business owners pay less than 30K to our employees. So must it be minimum wage, or it could be less? You understand? That's my first question. Then my second question goes thus. You said as that they must file minimum, in essence, directors. That's what you said, Madam Jessica. You said
Yes, ma'am.
directors should do direct assessments, like they should pay 50K per year, right? I hope I got that right. They shouldn't file as pay as an employee. They should file direct assessment. I think that's the best form to avoid the issues one of the persons who asked question was complaining about. So if I got that right, if I'm filing for a client as a tax consultant, how do I now generate payer ID for the director, for the personal direct assessment? Those are my two questions.
Okay, so the first question is the number of employee. There is no,
And
there's
if
no.
they can do.
Sorry?
The number of employee, how many, if there's a
No,
minimum amount of employees, and if they
there
can
is
pay, even if they are earning less than
minimum
minimum
wage.
wage.
Yeah, there is no number of employee as long as that individual is a staff of your company and they earn salary. Even if it's one, you are mandated to file returns for them and deduct PE as well. So for the minimum wage, the Finance Act actually for earners, that for those that earn minimum wage, they are exempted from tax payments. So if you have anybody earning below 30,000 naira, you are not expected to deduct tax from that person. However, if the person is not paying tax, there's really no point why the person should ask for tax clearance, because it will actually show a zero tax clearance.
Okay.
Yes. So then for the 50K, I said the 50K is not a direct, as it's not for directors. This 50K is just an element of the TCC that is actually the high request of TCC now. Now, the LRS is saying that if you want a tax clearance certificate for the 3 years, it means that you're supposed to have been on annual returns. And that annual returns means that your employer must have filed for you and filed all your taxes. Now, in a situation whereby you are unemployed for a particular year, they are saying that the minimum, the threshold you can pay for them to give you that TCC is 50,000 naira. And because as at the time, you are not under any employment. So what they are saying is when you want to make this 50,000 naira payment, pay it as a direct assessment, not as a payee. Because if you're paying it as a payee, it's going to require you to attach a schedule and also request for your company's payer ID. So because you are unemployed at the time, they are saying pay a 50,000 naira into a direct assessment. So that is where the 50,000 naira comes from. So it's not like directors of a company are mandated to pay 50,000 naira. No, your income for the year might be in millions, and your tax might be in also maybe in hundreds or in millions. But for the purpose of this TCC, they are saying that the minimum for anybody that is not employed at the time is 50,000 naira. Even though a lot of people are complaining about it, like some will say, I was a student at the time, I was serving at the time, why should I pay 50,000 naira? But well, as of now, we have not seen any lawyer that will rise up against LIRS and say, we shouldn't pay this. But the other thing the contact person from LIRS said is, the bank will not accept a zero tax clearance for the first year that is outstanding. So that is why they are saying, okay, pay a minimum of 50,000 naira tax for that year. Then if you're on annual returns for 2021 and 2022, even if your tax is 500 naira for those years, as long as your employer actually filed, that is the amount that will be uploaded. So it is very important that companies and employers file returns, irrespective of the tax, even if it's 15 naira, as long as it is filed and is reflecting on the e-tax, you're going to enjoy that benefit and not the 50,000 naira amount.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Adekwa. So we're moving on.
Please, I've raised up my hand. My hand has been paining me. Yeah?
So you see, I think I called you a couple of times before I moved on to yes.
I didn't hear that. Sorry about that. So
Okay,
go
ahead,
please,
Yeah.
Thank you. My question is in two ways. I want to paint two scenarios. A situation whereby you are working in Lagos, but you now discover that before you left, discover that your employer has not been remitting those payments deducted from your salary, and you left Lagos. And now you are now working in Ogun State, but your current employer is now deducting the pay and remitting to Ogun State Inland Revenue Service. Those two scenarios, how can I go about it, or how can I get my TCC in that regard? That's my question. And then the second question is, if someone is less than, you said someone earning 30,000 or lower, I mean minimum wage or lower, would that mean that such person cannot file minimum tax, which is 1% at the end for that particular person in this question? Thank you. And then please, the last thing, how can we get this video the audio tape so that we can watch later? Maybe you release it on YouTube or something like that. How can we get the recording video? Thank you.
Okay, so your first employment was in Lagos State. Your employer is not remitting your tax, even though they are deducting. Then you move to Ogun State. If you move to Ogun State, They are two different states. I would have suggested that since you see, had it been you are still in Lagos State, just as my colleague has said, Dayo said that you can actually go back and then send them an email that you need your tax clearance. But because you've moved from Lagos State to Ogun State, you can still request for it. You can still request for your tax clearance from your employee from Lagos State, because at some point in Ogun State, whatever business or anything you want to do in Ogun State, or maybe you are working there, they might also want to ask that, oh, where is your evidence of payment of tax for those years? Then you cannot tell them, oh, as at the time, as at those years, I was in Lagos State. This is my evidence of tax for the year. So you can still request for it from your employer, because Ogun State, the way Ogun State remits their tax, all states is different. The pay ID they will generate, the code you pay to, all states differs in terms of remittance of the payee. So you can also still request for it in Lagos State, but the thing is, Lagos State is different, Ogun State is different. Lagos State have actually enjoyed or collected your tax, not Ogun State. So when you're coming to Ogun State to pay, Ogun State will issue a payer ID for you, or maybe give you an ID that they will pay into. So it's two different things. But if whatever you want to do, maybe you want to build a house or something, and then, for example, you joined Ogun State this year, and probably maybe you want to enter into a contract and all of that, and they are saying, oh, and they request for this TCC, you can actually show them the one for Lagos State, as at the time I was working in Lagos State, and this is the evidence of tax that was deducted. I recently moved to Ogun State. That is why this is still outstanding. So it's still very much valid for both states, depending on whatever it is you're doing in the states. So that's for that. Then for the 1%, because the law says no tax, so the 1% is not applicable to them. Minimum wage earners, no tax should be deducted. So 1% minimum tax is not applicable to them, because even the 1% minimum tax is still tax. So and the law is saying no tax. So which means that whether 1% or anything, they are not to pay tax. Tax is not to be deducted from the minimum wage salary. Then for the audio tape, we will also try as much as possible to share that.
Sorry, please, before you move forward, are you saying that if I'm working in Ogun State for the past 5 years now, and my company is remitting, I will just have to focus on Ogun State in revenue to get my TCC instead of coming to Lagos?
Yes, because TCC, individual TCC, it should be remitted at your place of residence, not even at your workplace. It should be collected as your place of residence.
Sorry. So are you living in Lagos State and working in Ogun State?
In Ogun State.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Yes.
Okay, you're living in.
No, I'm living in Ogun State while I'm working in Lagos.
Lagos State. Your tax should be
Ogun State. It should be Ogun State IRS. That's your place of residence.
Yes, your tax should be remitted to Ogun State IRS. Except if you want to dash Lagos State more, you're enjoying the benefits more in Lagos. But it's better you pay because the law says where you residence, not your place of work. So you can actually talk to your employer and tell them that, oh, please, they should start remitting your tax to Ogun State.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Supermi, can we have your question? Gift, can we have your question?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for the insights in this session. I want to ask, as a consultant, and you have employees that you have filed their returns like for 2020, and it's not yet uploaded on the LRS site. So now that it's time to do their individual TCCs, and we have to go back to the LRS to impute 2021 and 2020, won't that be an hindrance? Like
would it be an issue? So is there any way you can also assist to resolve this issue? Because we've been having back and forth with the LRF on this matter, but they don't seem to have filed it yet or have uploaded it yet. And then these guys are coming at us. So I don't know if there's anything how you can help or solution you can provide to make this actually faster and easily done.
So if I get it correctly, you said the annual returns you filed for 2020 is not uploaded.
Yeah, it's not still showing like on the LRS portal, it's not there, and then so it was filed with the LRS, but it's not uploaded on their back end. But there is a proof that it's been filed with them.
Okay, but did you take hard copy to the office?
Yes,
Was it an
yes,
hard
that's
copy
it.
file? Oh, okay. Okay. I think as at 20, the e-tax came into existence in 2019. So ordinarily, when you took the hard copy, they are supposed to have told you that you should file online. So, but if you have the evidence that you filed the hard copy, you have the stamped copy with them, you can go to the tax office and tell them to upload it. They will upload it. So for the other years too, going forward, you're supposed to be filing it. Aside from that 2020, the 2021 should also be filed online. The 2020.
Yeah, we've done all that. Hello. We've done all that. I was just thinking there's something
I think our
going there.
network is off
I
because
know it's off, right?
Jessica, are you there? Jessica, are you there? Okay,
I think
Adida,
our
can you?
network is bad, so
Yeah, yeah.
I think she has answered the question, right? Let's move
Okay,
to the next question.
Olaiwaju, can we have the next? Can we have your question, please? Our time is fast spent.
Okay, sorry. I think the network
Okay,
was.
Jessica is back. Okay,
Yeah.
Olaiwaju, can we have your question? If Olaiwaju isn't there, Hussein, can we have your question?
Good evening.
Adetunji, are you on the call? Okay, thank you.
Okay, please. She mentioned something about 50,000. What if I worked just for 6 months in a year? Do I still need to pay the 50,000? That is my first question. And then my second question is, I worked in Abuja for I think 3 years, and then I relocated. I'm currently in Lagos. So how do I go about filing?
Okay, so for the TCC, if it's not for this purpose, if the purpose is not for jack buying or to do anything, I always advise that we should just hold on to next year. So as at the next year, those years that are outstanding, even if you work for a month, as long as your employer filed your returns, it will reflect on your tax clearance. You don't need to pay the 50,000 naira. But the 50,000 naira is basically for those that need it for the BTA, the foreign exchange transaction, and all sorts. So, yeah, well, we'll have no other option than to pay the 50,000 naira. But if you're not doing any of that, you can just hold on to next year. That period that is outstanding can actually flip over, and then because by next year, 2024, what you will have on the tax clearance will be 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Okay.
Yes, but because since you work in Abuja, like I said, Abuja for individual, they are using TIN number. TIN, while Lagos State uses AID, there are two different IDs. So you can only have your evidence of tax as at the time in Abuja. You can have that just for maybe for retention purpose or for your own personal use in case if there is anything you want to do later in the future. But since you relocated to Lagos and you work for 6 months in the year, as long as your employer filed your returns, irrespective of how many months you spent with them, it will actually reflect on your TCC.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Olaiwaju, can we have your question? Olaiwaju, are you on the call? Okay, Afolabi, can we have your question?
All right. Good evening, everyone, and
Good
thanks for this
evening.
opportunity. So my question is this: a copper earning more than 30K that is earning like 50K, is it advisable to remit a monthly pay for him or her? That's one. Number two is in a situation whereby in my organization I remit monthly pay for all staffs. We have a large number of staff, so I remit through the bank, which I believe is the manual process. But every month the payment is not reflecting on individuals' portal, based on the fact that all the staff have not registered their tax ID number, or maybe I don't have all their tax ID number. Is there a way to go about it? Let me repeat the question again. There's a new
Okay,
process.
no.
No, we understand.
We
understand.
can hear. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
let me help you here.
Okay.
So for while undergoing your remit, your filing for payee, if you don't put pay ID of your staff to file your payee returns, they will not get any credits, because based on the schedule you are uploading, you will see taxpayer ID, the name, and then the amount. I mean, you have the other details of the allowances and all of those things. But if you are not inserting the payer ID of that particular employee, that employee cannot get any credit. And that employee will not also get notification that so amount of pay has been remitted on my behalf. So you need to, first of all, register or create pay ID for all the staffs in your company, ensure that everybody has one, and that so that whenever it is that you want to upload your payroll for the month to file your payee returns, you can insert their pay ID, and of course they will get the notification, and it will automatically reflect on their own personal portal.
So the first question for coppers that earns more than 30K, maybe earning 50K, is it advisable?
Okay,
So
for
far
a
you're earning
copper,
above, whether you're copper
yeah,
or you're copper.
if you're earning above 30K, you are liable to tax.
But you know that they have only 1 year.
But you are earning other salary for or your what is the money the federal government gives you?
Alawi.
That one, alawi now. You collect your alawi 33K, and you still come to the company and collect 50K. You're a big guy now, so you don't want to pay tax on the 50K. You pay tax now. You pay tax on that 50K, except if they are giving you something lower than, let's say it's lower than that 30,000 naira. So the moment you are paying 50K, whether you are copper, you are paying, you have to pay the tax on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Okay, Prince TB, can we have your question? Prince TB. Prince TB. Okay, Gani, can we have your question? And that will be the last question for today. Adida, can we please go off after we hear from Gani? Go through a question.
I've been raising my hand though. I've not been called.
Sorry.
Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, I've been raising my hand. I've not been
Gani,
called.
please, can we have your question?
Okay,
Thomas,
good evening.
you have been called. You have
No,
been called.
I've not. I've been here since, seriously.
Hello, good evening. I've not been called though. I've been raising my hand since as well.
Okay.
Let's go take it one after
Should
the
I
other.
hold it?
What's everybody?
Okay.
Let's take it one by one.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, Gani, please go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. My question is for the old
Good evening.
for the old TCC. Is there an expiry date for it? Can you hear me?
There's no old TCC.
Like the physical one, Physical one.
Every TCC will.
The physical one.
Yes.
Every TCC will.
Physical one. There's no
of the year, 31st December. If you are not given any restricted TCC, because we have restricted TCC as well. If you are not given restricted TCC, your TCC is not to expire 31st December of that particular year.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah. Good evening. So, quick one. Let me just quickly ask my question. My question goes on direct assessment. Someone has been paying his direct assessment every year, and now he wants to get the TTC on LRS. Is he still going to pay this 50,000 naira for the 3 years, making 150? That's my questions. And second question is that you mentioned, Madam Jessica, you mentioned something that, based on my knowledge, I know that if a company has more than maybe 5 staff, the company needs to register for those staff so that they can be deducting tax on a monthly basis, which is payee. But you just
Yeah.
mentioned something earlier on that even though the staff is one, the company needs to
Yes.
register for payee and it should be deducting every month. I think that's what you said.
Yes.
Is it a new development or it has been in existence for some times? That's my question.
Okay, for the first question, the person
Yeah.
that is on direct assessment,
Yeah.
was that person issued an assessment,
No,
or he's just paying?
he's just paying every year. Taxes. I always just tell him. Some people don't want to go and be assessed to pay a lot of money. They just want to paying something every year. That's what he's doing. So I'm not asking now if he wants to get the TTC for the LRS. Is he still going to pay another money, which is this
They
150,000 for the 3 years?
they will have to assess him. They have to issue an assessment for him before they can give,
Okay.
depending on the amount he paid. I don't know how much he has paid for the past 3 years, but whichever the amount is, they will still issue an assessment for him. Now, let me just tell you the bitter truth of it is this. Even if you paid, let's say maybe what he has paid is 100,000 for 2020, he paid 150,000 for 2021, and then maybe another 150,000 for 2022. No assessment was issued. Now, if he wants to get this tax clearance, they are going to raise an assessment for him, and they will definitely give him an additional payment. It's just the bitter truth. They will give him an additional payment. It might necessarily not be 50,000 naira, or it might be 50,000 naira. It might even be more than 50,000 naira, because they will be like, oh, for somebody that is voluntarily paying this amount for this year, that means the person is earning huge income. You understand? So they will issue the assessment for such person, increase or add something to it, and then he will pay. So if he is ready to pay, then he can go ahead and then pay, and he will get his TCC. It will be processed for him.
Okay. So what about the second one? What about the second one?
For the second question, yes, the whole law was saying maybe a minimum of 5 staff before.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
even recently, if you have 1 staff, they will still come and knock at your door. If you say, oh, I have just 1 staff, they will tell you, but he's collecting salary now. So you are meant to register. So even if you have 1 staff, you should just register to avoid all these stories, because LRS, they will say this today, tomorrow they will come up with another thing. So to avoid all those things, in as long as you have a staff, just pay for them, pay their payee, do the necessary things you need to do, and fine. So that exonerates you from whatever question or any issues you want to have with them.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so Tommy, can we have your question? And that will be the very, very last. Because I really want us to go through if there's any question we're leaving out from the chat box, I need that you please go through it so that we can address it as well. So Tommy, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Now, the first question that I have here, I think Jessica mentioned something the other time that once the payee is remitted by an employer, and an employee should get a text message or maybe an email from the LIS office. I want to confirm this if LIS is still doing this, because I've been working for close to 14 years now, and I've never for once gotten any text message. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
Since
serious.
2009, I've been working. I have not for once gotten any text message for LRS. Now, does it mean that though I just changed the job even this year February, and for 13 years I've been with the former employer, does it mean that the employer did not for once remit my payee? That's the first question.
And the second one is this. Okay, for someone, I know someone because someone just contacted me recently as because of this CCC of a thing. The person, I know, the child is about to gain admission to university, and one of the requirements there is that the parents should provide TCC. And the person contacted me that how because this person is in informal sector, he's just a trader. So the person is asking me how to go about getting TCC. Even the person even thought that maybe she can get from me. And unfortunately, I don't have as well. That's why I even registered for this class because I need to get this TCC. So the second question is, how can one now go about it in getting TCC for somebody in informal sector, as in a trader? I think Jessica mentioned the other time that you have to pay 50,000 for each year. So how can I go about that on behalf of that person to get the TCC? That's the second question. Can I go ahead to the third question? Okay, so for the first question, the first thing is I need to confirm from you. Do you have a payer ID? Yes, when I was living this year, January, the former employer, the person gave me my payer ID. So I have my payer ID here. Okay, and yet you're not getting the text message on email notification. I'm not. In fact, that's why when you mentioned about this registration of I'm with my laptop now. I just log into the website now. I think you have addressed that. I'm having issue with the OTP. So I couldn't get I even want to confirm whether I have a page. But I think you have to address that they are having issue with their OTP. Because I don't even know my password. But I have my payer ID here. So I think you've answered that when they clear the OTP, I will access so that I want to even tell whether I have a page there or not. So I have payer ID. Okay. Now the in your own case, I think the challenge you are having is your profile. So what you need to do is chat with them, chat with the on that platform where you can chat. Tell them you want to update your profile. You give them your correct email and then your correct phone number. So if you've done that, then you can actually you can start getting the notification. But if they are finding it difficult to update, that means there's something happening with your BVN. It's probably your BVN information is different from what you are giving them at the LIRS. So you chat with them first, give them the necessary information, your email, your correct email, and then your phone number. So if they are still finding it difficult, then there's something wrong with your BVN. So maybe the information is not synchronizing with your BVN information. So that's just what I can say in respect to that. But if you're still having that challenge, I will advise that you probably go to the taxation and resolve it, or you can actually contact us. The TPS will help you find a way around it. That's for the payee. Now for the trader, the woman you're talking about, if she's a roadside trader, as at the time school resumed this year, most of these government schools were requesting for tax clearance, parent tax clearance for the children. So at some point, in fact, a woman actually came to me and said, "Oh, they need tax clearance. They're asking this for our children's school fees and all of that." So I told her that tax clearance. I was like, "Mama, how am I going to get tax clearance on you? It means I'm going to file returns." When I told her the price, she was like, how much is she making? How much is that gain? So she said, okay. Then I spoke with the LRS person, and the person said such person should go to the local government where they are and then talk to them that there is this tax something they usually generate for them. It's like a payment, it's a minimum amount. I think like they'll pay 5,000 or 6,000 naira. So when they give them this, they can give it to their children and they will accept it. So that was how she resolved her own. So that was how I'm asking if she's just a petty trader that is not a big business owner like that. She can actually visit the local government in her area and then explain to her. They can give us something in replacement to the tax clearance.
Yes, can I move on to the third question now?
No, I'm so sorry to me. We cannot take a third question. Okay, Michael, can you please go through the questions in the chat box for us? If you're still on the call.
Okay, let me just run through that. Yes,
Okay.
so somebody was asking what is restricted TCC. So most of the time, restricted TCC is always given to companies. I've not seen it for an individual experience before, but for companies, let's say for instance, now you have maybe 100 million outstanding to pay, and you're able to like maybe pay 70 million out of it, right? FIRS can decide to give you a restricted TCC for you pending when you clear out the outstanding balance, right? So restricted TCC is just like saying that the TCC will not last for too long. Maybe it will just be for maybe a month or 3 months. But normally a TCC is supposed to expire within a year. That is from January to December, it will expire in December. But if due to the urgent need of the TCC, the company might be given a restricted one pending when they clear out their outstanding. So that's for that. So somebody was asking, when an individual employee is filing, is he expected to file same gross income as for like if whatever it is that your employer has filed for you as your payee. So that is what you're supposed to also file as an individual. That's if you don't have any other source of income. If your major source of income is just that your employment salary, like your salary, whatever it is that your employer has filed for you, that is also what you should file as your own individual returns. But if you have other sides income, or perhaps you're working in different, like more than one company, you can also file the income from other sources too. So similarly, if he is to file same amount, does that mean he has to obtain the amount? You don't need to obtain this thing from your company. Well, if you're an accountant, you should be able to like know the gross amount of what is being deducted from your salary as payee, right? But for a layman that does not know this, you may have to like go to your employer to request for the gross amount that is being remitted for your payee. So that's for that question. Another person was asking, can one continue using same tax ID when your SIM moves from job 8? Of course, your tax ID is the same thing regardless of which company you are working with. If you are working with company A or company B, so far you are still in Lagos, so far you are still resident in Lagos, that same tax ID will work for you wherever it is you are working in Lagos. My question is for the physical tax. TCC always have expiring dates, right? Every TCC there's an expiring date for it. So most of the time it's always 31st December of that particular year. So somebody was asking if I join a company and there are no returns that have been filed for that year, do I need to pay for? If you join a company for 2022 and they file your returns for 2022, right, you are still meant to like pay for 2020 and 2021 so that to enable you get your tax clearance certificate. So I think that's all. So for the video will be released on the YouTube platform. So we'll share the link of the YouTube platform where every one of you can have access to watch the
Sorry,
video.
apologies, Adedayo. There's still one question that you have not attended to, please.
Which one is, can you please call my attention to it?
On the employee that is on the minimum wage, if they cannot get a TCC, please.
I cannot see that question. From which person? What's the name of the person?
Dorothy, I'm saying an employee that is on the minimum wage, can they get a TCC?
Okay, I've seen it. So for employee that is on minimum wage, right? Of course, you can also get your TCC, right? But it will require a lot of verification. The tax authority will want to verify that truly are you truly on a minimum wage? Because some people will say that I'm on minimum wage, I'm on this, I'm on that, like I don't have any tax I've been paying. So it will take it. This kind of TCC will not come easy because it will require a lot of verification of the person's income to be actually sure that the person is on minimum wage. I was telling my colleagues some other day that there's some period that I was still in school that I was not even earning anything. So why should I pay tax? Well, that kind of issue is something I can actually drag with the tax authority, because when I was in school, you cannot expect me to be paying tax because I was not working. When I was saving, you cannot expect me to be paying tax because I was not earning much, right? So, but if you need this TCC for something urgent, you don't need to start dragging something that is not that will waste your time, right? If you need TCC for an urgent situation, then you have no choice than to like pay whatever it is that the tax authority is saying you pay, but you should pay. However, if you don't need it for something urgent, you can, of course, you have the right as a taxpayer to drag with your tax authority, provided that you have your concrete evidence to show that, okay, I've been earning minimum wage, so I don't have any tax to pay, and you will, of course, get your TCC.
Okay.
Minimum wage
Okay,
is
so
just 30,000 naira, right? There's no calculation. Minimum wage is 30K. So if you're earning 30K and below, you're not supposed to like pay tax. So
okay.
if what you need TCC for is urgent, if you are dragging with the LIRS, of course, you will not get that TCC on time, right? So if you need it for urgent request, just dance to your tune and ensure that you get it. So that's basically the summary. And also, if you want to process your tax clearance certificates, it's something that we do as tax problem solvers. Within 2 days, within 2 to 3 days, you will get your TCC. So you can just reach out to us, reach out to me or Jessica or any of the admin of the group chat to process your TCC. But it's best that you reach out to me. You just have access to it. So thank you, Dolapo.
Okay, thank you so much, Adida. Honestly, at this rate, I honestly feel like
Somebody is raising and
Oh, okay. Shemilore.
Okay, hi, good evening.
Good
Good evening.
evening.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just asking my question, but I'm just prompted to ask anyways. So my question is, if the company, like an employee is working for, like, just remits like the employee's tax for a period of, let's say, 3 months, and then this employee requires like TCC. I think you have to have paid tax. You have to have remitted your tax for like 3 years before you can get TCC, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like for that particular year, let's say in the entire year, maybe the tax was remitted for just 3 months, would the employee be required to pay like the 50,000 naira, like to be cleared for that year?
No.
Okay, so the 3 months will still work for that year.
Yes, as long as the employer files the returns and the staff name is in that returns. The 50,000 naira is not
All right, that's my question. Thank you.
So it's it's possible for you to not work for 12 months in a company. You can work for a month. Of course, they will file your returns for that 1 month you've worked.
Yeah.
So that 1 month is what we appear on your tax clearance certificate for that year.
Okay. Thank you.
So someone is asking, how is minimum tax payee calculated and what's the condition, please? Okay, for that minimum tax computation is 1% of your gross salary. Now, the only condition that can make you calculate the minimum tax is if that individual that you're filing returns for, the taxable income is not up to the first 300,000 at 7%. If it's not up to that amount, then you're calculating 1% of the annual gross minimum tax. If the taxable income is less than 300,000, for example, your gross income deducts your pension, deduct everything, and then at the end of the day, you calculate your CRA, which is consolidated relief allowance, and probably at the end of the day, the taxable income you are having is 250,000. Now, for you to calculate the payee of such individual, the amount has to be up to 300,000 for the first 7%. So if it's not up to the 300,000 for the first 7%, you are meant to calculate a minimum tax of 1% of the annual gross. That is the condition where you can actually calculate your minimum tax.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you for enlightening us, Jessica. Thank you for enlightening us, Adida. Your Michael, it has been an awesome time. At this point, I honestly feel like I can answer some questions myself. With the rest and speech to Agoya, I feel like if anyone wants to come with me with any, I can boldly answer them. Thank you so much. And I believe that, I mean, the testimony of everyone here, we have been enlightened. All our questions have been answered. There is no confusion again. And yeah. So this brings us to the end of today's session. Should I say, unfortunately, we have to end it. But yes, it's been
quite
a
interesting.
really great time. Yeah. Okay, but we're going to be doing this again. So watch out. Follow us on social media, and you would see all the necessary information there. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn. You can follow Adidaya as well, Jessica, Michael as well. And if you need your TCC to, if you need your TCC, you can always reach out to anyone. Adidaya, Jessica, or Michael. They can always do that for you, right? So that they reduce your stress and all of that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for registering. We really hope that you tell your friends, tell your friends, to tell your friends, tell your friend. The next time we're having a meeting, that you all would join and would gain more knowledge concerning. So thank you guys. Thank you, Olufemi. Thank you very much, everyone. Would you let us know when the recording goes on YouTube so that you can always go back to watch it?
I would once it's been uploaded on the YouTube page, I will share it to all the participants.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Good night. I hope we, get to see ourselves again the next time we're having another training. Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, everyone.
For the opportunity.
Bye. Have a wonderful June 12th celebration.
You too.
Bye.